This is our COVID Roundup and CDC update for April 18th, 2025. And I'm going to start off by quoting Dr. Mike Horger for this week, where he says that this is not normal, and I'll show you why in a second. So, scrolling down to our COVID data, and specifically starting with our COVID variant map, we see that nothing has updated since last week. The last update was on April 12th, 2025, and it was supposed to update April 18th, 2025. And as you can see, as we look backwards, that every single week it has been updating. So this is the first week where we have not had any COVID variant data updates within this map. And also, if we switch over to the CDC COVID data tracking wastewater surveillance through the NWSS, we see that the last reported date here is from April 12th. And if we scroll down to all of the reporting wastewater facilities to the NWSS, the National Wastewater Surveillance System, we see another thing right here that the last updated period was from March 31st, 2025 to April 14th, 2025, but again, where this data was updated on April 12th. So why is this important? Well, this is the first time that we've had this. So you might be thinking, oh, well, we've had wastewater reporting delays and COVID variant reporting delays in the past, and well, that really only happened during a major federally recognized holiday. And on April 18th, there was not a major federally recognized holiday, and they did not put up their normal notification bar up here where they're saying, due to the holiday, we will be updating data on like Monday, this time at this time. That didn't happen. So this is actually a sign that they're testing the waters, I believe, to see what they can get away with not reporting data. Because if we look over to the respiratory illness data tracker, the data channel here, we see that it's updated April 18th, 2025. And then they're implying that the COVID wastewater viral activity has also updated. So why is this important? Well, it's saying that, oh, the COVID-19 activity continues to decline nationally. Wastewater's levels are at low levels. But that's not true because there is no data from the past week. So if there's no data, you can't make any conclusions about said data. And we know that also we're missing hospitalization data for the past week, because if we go over to the current epidemiologic trends, which is based off of hospital transmission, hospital data, we see that that also did not update this week. The last update was in that last reporting period from April 12th to April 14th. So that is just showing us that they're making these claims based off of no data. And the CDC isn't the only place where we're losing a lot of data. New York State runs their own wastewater surveillance program, and they've been doing a data transition in the Capital Region, Mohawk Valley, and Southern Tier. So in these regions right here. And they've been doing this data transition for about a month and a half at this point, and it has not updated yet. So this is a huge loss in data. This is about I think like 55 wastewater facilities in this region right here. And when that's tied in with lack of data reporting in this part of New York and the northern part of New York, you end up with a lot of data that is missing from your data surveillance. So it's not painting an accurate picture in places like New York either. But this is what I think is a separate issue from what's happening with the CDC. The CDC is not reporting the data for the past week. First time they're doing that. And then New York has been doing a lab data transition, and I'm guessing it's not going well. They're not having things match up with historical trends backwards, which is why it's taking so long to do this transition. But that's very concerning. That has been about a month and a half delay. And it looks like it's not just us in the US, but if we look over to Canada, they're having some weird glitches on their website as well. I was hoping to show you some updates for LF 7.7.2, but you can see that they're only reporting one time period, December 31st, 1969. So they're clearly having some sort of glitch issue, because usually they have about 6 months of data reported right here, and they have a bunch of different trends going across. So I do not think this is accurate in the slightest. So I don't know if they're just updating their website or what is happening, but yeah, this is clearly an error and issue as well. I think this is more of a tech side issue than what is currently happening with the CDC, which I think is an intentional harm, and also separate from what's happening in New York, which is just an unintentional harm due to the fact that they're trying to be consistent and accurate, but that's ending up with huge swaths of data delays in this region. And we can even see that this data that's not being reported by the CDC is having impacts on Raj's COVID variant tracking map, because you can see that there's significantly less bubbles, significantly less data that's being reported. So fortunately, Raj's team does in fact have data that's not tied into the CDC's NWSS program. So we still have some information coming in, but this is significantly less than there typically is. You can tell through the data visualization. And from the lineages that they have right now, we can see that LP 8.1.1 is making up about 37% of all variants by proportion, and LP 8.1 is making up about 17% of all variants by proportion. And then jumping over to wastewater scan and the 28 reporting wastewater facilities to wastewater scan in California, when we look over, we see that there is some signs of increasing levels of COVID in the wastewater in California, where the highest levels are currently in Novato and San Rafael, California. And then if we look over to the 148 reporting wastewater facilities to wastewater scan in the US, we see that after our winter spike, we've sort of been holding pretty steady. Since then, there were signals showing that there was increasing in the prior week, but it looks like things have plateaued. But again, they're plateaued at very high levels. This is our highest quote unquote low period that we've experienced to date, meaning that there's high sustained transmission throughout the US. And that's for reference, it's higher than the winter wave of 2022. So it's higher than the first 3 waves of the pandemic, which simply shows that it is not at an insignificant level right now. It's actually quite high.